This was one of those fairly rare horror films that I was actually really hopeful and excited for because I have watched all of Kane Parsons' Backrooms YouTube series and I absolutely adore it. It's some of my favorite horror that I've ever watched. So I was going into this with a lot of hope and a lot of anticipation, and I quite liked the first half of the film. The first half of the film showed a lot of promise. It had a pretty solid setup. When Chiwetel Ejiofor's character first goes into the backrooms, it is creepy and it does a good job of building that tension. The physical sets for the backrooms, by far the most impressive aspect of this film. It just looks astonishing. I was just so amazed to see the backrooms brought to life on the big screen and actors actually walking around it. So again, the first half of the film was pretty solid and it was on track to being a really damn good backrooms film. And then the second half came, and that's where the film became a letdown for me. I just didn't like the direction they took the story in the second half. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that at some point people start running away from things. The stuff they run away from in this film is completely different from what the people in the YouTube series ran away from. The threat, I'll just call it the threat, completely different thing altogether. And I appreciate Kane and the writer, whoever, wanting to explore different kinds of mythology, do some different stuff. And with this new mythology and this new threat that they introduced, there is some thematic elements and some metaphors that they use with it. And I completely get what they were going for thematically and metaphorically. It's just the execution I was not a fan of. These new additions to the lore mythology that Kane's established in this Backrooms canon feels so different to what we've had before that it almost feels like a reboot and a reinvention of the canon to the point where it just feels like it alienates what came before. And I just much prefer what was in the web series in terms of the threat, the life forms, that kind of thing. And that's probably the major source of disappointment with this film for me. The previous lore mythology, the life forms, the threats in the web series are 10 times scarier than the dangers and threats that are presented in this film. All the efforts of the first half were completely squandered in the second half for me. But again, the execution I just wasn't a fan of. And thus, this scene just screeched the film to a complete halt, and I was starting to get really bored. And I was just thinking, I'd rather be back in. I mean, technically, it was in the back rooms, but I want to be in different parts of the back rooms, exploring around, sneaking around, trying to hide from life forms, that kind of thing. But here we are. This film, to me, feels like it was made by somebody who was inspired by Ken Parsons' web series, but didn't understand what made the web series so effective. But it was made by Ken Parsons, the guy who made the web series. So that's why it's just so confounding to me. As a lover of Kane's web series, this was a considerable disappointment for me.